This meeting is now called to order. Good morning and welcome to everyone. Adoption of minutes.
Be it resolved that the minutes of the meeting held on September 27th, 2022 be adopted.
Someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Purcell and Councillor Mennel. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Go ahead, Councillor Martin.
Yes, closed session item number 2. I have a disclosure of interest.
Are there any other disclosures at this time? There are no presenting petitions, presentations, and delegations today. Committee of the whole.
Be it resolved that we do now move into committee of
To move, Deputy Ward, and seconded by Councillor 𝗘𝗹𝗴𝗶. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Reports of council outside boards and staff. And the first item, Terrace Lodge redevelopment.
Be it resolved that the report titled Terrace Lodge Redevelopment 2022 Year-End Update dated October the 11th, 2022 from the Terrace Lodge Redevelopment Steering Committee Chair be received and filed.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Jones and seconded by Councillor Martin. And I'll turn it over to Councillor Purcell, please. Give us a bit of an overview.
Yep, thank you. The report was sent out. It's pretty self-explanatory. We're still within budget. We're still trying desperately to get it finished. We want to thank the committee members. When we started, our job was to put the money in place and put the contingencies in place and look at all the eventualities. And once we got that in place, we did what we wanted to do. We tried to put it on automatic pilot and let the staff implement and execute. And it still seems to be working well that way. So I want to thank them. And if anyone has any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them.
Are there any questions for Councillor Purcell? Thank you, Councillor Purcell. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. The next item is Elgin County Land Division activities for 2022.
Be it resolved that the report titled Elgin County Land Division Activities for 2022 dated October the 11th, 2022 from the Elgin County Land Division Committee Chair and the Secretary Treasurer be received and filed.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Jones and seconded by Councillor 𝗘𝗹𝗴𝗶. Good morning, Ian. Welcome, and we'll turn this over to you, and you've got a bit of an overview.
Thank you very much, Warden French, and well, I'm pleased to be here to report. I'll highlight the report. I think you all have seen it. The Elgin County CAO, Julie, began 2022 as a Land Division Committee Secretary Treasurer. Paul Hicks, we had from Republic Urbanism, delivering planning reports. Presentations to the committee during this time. In June 2022, Paul Clark was hired as the county's new planning technician and subsequently was sworn in as the committee's new secretary treasurer. Secretary treasurer is responsible for the daily operations of the Land Division Committee. And this involves the keeping of files, minutes, records, and decisions of all applications and all other business of the committee. And the secretary treasurer attends all meetings and acts in an advisory capacity regarding policy and procedure. And this year, the Land Division Committee has continued to receive a high number of applications for consent, which is suspected to continue into next year. And I'd like to just highlight also that the Land Committee, it has been a pleasure serving as chairman and working with such a committee group of individuals over the past year. And if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Thank you, Ian. Are there any questions for Ian? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Or did you have a question?
I do have one.
Oh, sorry.
Through you, Madam Warden, to our chairman of Land Division. Over the last number of years that you've been there, Ian, and I think there's some other people that there have been there some time, and I'm looking through your report and you come to a conclusion. Is there nothing that has gone on over the last number of years that as land division members you'd be making recommendations to county council that we should possibly look at changing how land division works here or there, or improving, streamlining, make it the experience more easier for people that apply? Are there any things that, I know I don't really need you to get into depth, but you're the people that are doing the work and you're reporting to us here. Is there things that you see that could possibly be made better?
Well, I would like to answer that. And what is, I feel in the last 4 years, we've done a better job and work to straighten out how the applications come in, that they're all the same. So we don't have questions on what is happening in one municipality and not in the other. And the application isn't made out the same. And in the last 4 years, with the change in the staffing, that's taken some of the time away from us. But I think with Paul lately, we have straightened out how the forms are filled out and how things are presented to us. And I think that was one of the main things we had to do, was to go through, and there's more, I would just say, not just farmers buying land, there's other types of organizations that we have to look at, and it's very difficult. And we've worked very diligently to get that paperwork to come in properly.
Well, that's what I'm looking for here, is that things are continually changing. And if we at the county here are not recognizing the things that are changing and make the necessary adjustments to deal with those changes, then we're really not doing our job. But it sounds with your answer there that you're aware of it and you're constantly on top of trying to make it a better experience.
Yes, that's what we would try to do. And I'll just say that it's been quite a change in the 4 years that I have sat on this committee, and the last 2 years as chairman, there's been a lot of changes and a lot of items we've had to work on.
Julie.
If I may, through you, Madam Warden, another change that is currently happening is we recognize that the process itself is a paper-based process. And so we are working on modernizing that process. And Brian, do you have any comments in regard to timing for a digitized flow?
Yeah, we anticipate hopefully within the next month to have a digital application process commencing, making it easier, making it easier for everybody, both the applicants as well as reviewers at both the county and local municipalities. So really looking forward to unveiling that and making that available to the public.
Go ahead, Councillor McPherson.
Just in that process of going to digitalization, is it your intention to rely on the local tier municipalities to assist our residents to get through that? As you know, everybody is not totally computer savvy. A lot of people don't even have internet. So how is that going to work on the applicant's end?
Through you, Madam Warden, there'll still be the opportunity for applicants to submit paper forms. We're not entirely excluding those that wish to do so, but certainly the bulk of applications received are received electronically. So a modernization of this process is long overdue, and excited to roll that out here shortly.
Go ahead, Julie.
Through you, Madam Warden, to Councillor McPhail, and county staff would be happy to help support any applicants through that digital process should they wish to utilize it.
Well, and my experience over the years, the application going in, being read and adjudicated at land division is only as good as what it is when it first comes in. If there's information missing, if there is information that's not correct, or it causes a lot of trouble at the end when you're sitting there trying to make a decision on validity of the application.
Okay, are there any further questions? Let's go ahead.
One comment I would have, I've noticed in the last 2 years, most people with farm applications and stuff like that are using legal companies to do the business with them because they're involved in everything with them, putting all this stuff together for them. So they're having the applications done by a legal company.
Any further questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you so much, Ian, and have a great day.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to serve and work with the county.
Next item up is Homes Infection Control Policy 2.10.
It resolved that the report titled Homes Infection Control Policy 2.10 Immunization, Staff COVID-19, and Administration Policy 1.35 Visitors and Resident Absences During a Pandemic dated October the 4th, 2022 from the Director of Homes and Senior Services be received and filed. And that council approve the amendments to the Homes Infection Control Policy 2.10 Immunization, Staff COVID-19, and that council approve the amendments to the Administration Policy 1.35 Visitors and Resident Absences During a Pandemic, and that staff be directed to provide an update report to council as necessitated through updated information, directives, guidance documents, which may include, but not limited to, such items as pandemic trends, scientific and medical evidence, updated ministry and public health guidance, resident and family council feedback, labor relations outcomes, and policy and procedure revision recommendations.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second, please. Counselor Jones and seconded by Counselor Martin. And I'll turn this over to Michelle. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Warden, through you to members of council. So before you is the report on the Infection Control Policy 2.10 for immunization and 1.35 for visitors and resident absences. Council will recall that in March of 2022, the ministry shifted from a directive requiring COVID-19 vaccination to a guidance-based approach to support long-term care homes with employer-driven immunization policies. On both March 22nd and May 24th, council approved updates to the policies requiring all persons entering our homes to provide proof of being fully vaccinated with 2 doses. For this report, in considering policy revision and recommendations, staff considered the following factors. So the Ministry of Long-Term Care, the Chief Medical Officer of Health, and Public Health Guidance continue to recommend that all Ontarians should be strongly encouraged to get vaccinated, including receiving medically recommended boosters. With long-term care homes across the province continuing to experience COVID-19 outbreaks, it remains as critical as ever to maintain vigilance with infection prevention and control practices and other public health measures. This includes the ongoing support for COVID-19 vaccination through employer-led policies and best practices, screening, surveillance, personal protective equipment, masking, IPAC audits, and outbreak management practices. As of September 29th, 2022, 143 long-term care homes in Ontario were in confirmed COVID-19 outbreak, of which only 15 had no resident cases. Since May of this year, 2 of the County of Elgin homes experienced significant confirmed COVID-19 outbreaks. There continues to be supportive resident and family council feedback regarding both vaccination and visitor policies. Southwestern Public Health consultation continues to provide support for vaccination, being our strongest defense against COVID-19, and encourages all workplaces to develop or maintain vaccination policies and to encourage employees to obtain vaccination booster doses as recommended by the National Advisory Committee on Immunization. As such, staff policy recommendation highlights include the following. For COVID-19 vaccinations, continuing the 2-dose requirement for all existing staff, students, support workers, volunteers, and visitors. Continuing with strongly encouraging vaccination booster doses. A no vaccination requirement for visitors for outdoor visits or absences from the home. And new to council today is all new staff, support workers, volunteers being required to remain up to date with vaccination. And changes have been made to the consequences for continued or repeated non-compliance following the usual process of progressive discipline. For the visiting policies is a recommendation for provision for in exceptional circumstances where outdoor visits or outings are not feasible, management of the home will utilize a risk assessment condition checklist criterion to determine the ability to support unvaccinated visitor visits within a designated area of the home. This will include additional IPAC measures to be taken by the visitor and the resident and will be dependent upon the ability to schedule visit appointments in designated locations. There maintains a commitment by the home's management staff to continue to monitor trends as reported by the ministry, the chief medical officer of health and public health, and to review the policy requirements and bring that information back to council. At this time, considering the current state of the pandemic and the ongoing evolving changes to community pandemic measures, it is imperative that vaccination and visitor policy and procedures are supportive of resident, staff, and visitor safety and well-being. Staff recommend the appended amendments to the policies to achieve those goals. The recommendations before council at the report be received and filed, that council approve the amendments to policy 2.10, and that council approve the amendments to policy 1.35, and that staff be directed to provide an updated report to council as necessitated through updated information, directives, and guidance documents. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Michelle, are there any questions for Michelle? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
The next item up is Township of Southold Official Plan Amendment number 2.
Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the County of Elgin approves official plan amendment number 2 to the Township of Southold Official Plan, file number SOOPA 2-22, and that staff be directed to provide notice of this decision in accordance with the Planning Act.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second, please. Counselor Mennel and Deputy Warden Marks, and I'll turn it over to Brian.
Thank you, Madam Warden, through you to council. Staff report before you notes official plan amendment number 2, which was initiated by township staff to redesignate lands from agricultural to residential just north of the Port Stanley settlement area to correct a mapping error that was introduced upon adoption of their new official plan. So with that, the details are before you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brian. Are there any questions for Brian? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's it. Thank you. The next item up is Integrity Commissioner, closed meeting investigator.
Be it resolved that the report titled Integrity Commissioner, Closed Meeting Investigator, Ombudsman Appointment Bylaw dated October 3rd, 2022, from the Chief Administrative Officer be received and filed, and that County Council pass bylaw number 22-43, being a bylaw to appoint 𝗘𝗹𝗴𝗶 LLP as the Integrity Commissioner, Closed Meeting Investigator, and Ombudsman for the Corporation of the County of Elgin, and to repeal bylaw number 17-42.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Counselor 𝗘𝗹𝗴𝗶 and seconded by Counselor Purcell. And Julie, did you want to give a bit more information about that, please?
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Warden. Through you to members of council. At its meeting on September 14th, council selected 𝗘𝗹𝗴𝗶 LLP as its Integrity Commissioner, Closed Meeting Investigator, and Ombudsman, subject to an agreement that was satisfactory to the CAO and County Solicitor. An agreement has been reached, and the county needs to now pass a bylaw that appoints 𝗘𝗹𝗴𝗶 as the Integrity Commissioner, Closed Meeting Investigator, and Ombudsman, and repeals the existing bylaw. So that is the purpose of this report. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Are there any questions, Julie, concerning this report? Go ahead, Counselor McPhail.
Is there, Madam Warden, through you to Julie, I guess, is there any financial advantage of using the province's ombudsman instead of having our own? Does the province not do it for free, and we will be paying for any ombudsman services from the law firm?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was relayed to council at its last meeting, and that option was presented, and the desire of council was to proceed with including it in the contract.
It kind of went over my head last time going around, but we talked about it at our local municipal council, and it's very hard to quantify what it actually will cost because we have no idea how many cases that we're have. So I guess it is what it is, but just if we get it for free. Just saying.
Any further comments or questions? Go ahead, Deputy Warden Marks.
When we were in Ottawa, Julie, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had attended a meeting with the Western Ontario Wards Caucus. And this is a fairly big issue across the province. And Steve Clark, Mr. Municipal Affairs and Housing, promised that hopefully be an announcement, and he was hoping like any day now before the election kind of thing to put some teeth into it. Because sometimes it's, there's a lot of things you can do, but so I'm kind of waiting on that. Haven't heard anything, but it'd be nice if the province would assist us.
Any further questions or comments? Okay, seeing no more. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. The next item is updated COVID-19 measures.
Be it resolved that the report titled Updated COVID-19 Measures dated October 5th, 2022 from the Chief Administrative Officer be received and filed, and that County Council support the ongoing implementation of the COVID-19 vaccine verification policy number 8.390 for a minimum of 90 days.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor McPhail and seconded by Councillor Martin. Julie, did you have any further comments?
Sure. Through you, Madam Warden, to members of council, the purpose of this report is to review council's COVID vaccine verification policy and review county COVID-19 protocols. This report recommends pausing the active screening tool for non-home staff and does recommend that the current 2-dose vaccination requirement remain in place for an additional 90 days. In light of recent outbreaks at 2 of the county's long-term care facilities, ensuring non-home staff remain vaccinated supports redeployment to long-term care homes in the event of severe staff shortages. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Are there any questions for Julie? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. The next item up is changes to billing rates, legal services.
Be it resolved that Elgin County Council authorize a billing rate for the position of solicitor in the amount of $150 per hour and an increase in the billing rate for the Director of Legal Services and General Counsel to $215 per hour commencing January 1st, 2023, and that the Chief Administrative Officer be directed to send notification of this increase to Elgin's municipal partners.
Someone to second? Councillor Mennel and seconded by Councillor Jones. And did you have any further comments,
Sure.
Julie?
This report contemplates an increase in the billing rate for the Director of Legal Services from $195 an hour to $215 an hour. This is something that we do every other year. The year in between, we do review the county prosecutor billing rate. So there is no recommended adjustment to the billing rate for the county's prosecutor, and which is currently $155 an hour. Subject to council's approval, the rates will be reflected in the 2023 budget, and notice will be sent to local municipal partners advising of that change. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Julie. Are there any questions for Julie? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. The next item, Elgin Middlesex Regional Fire School Update Report.
Be it resolved that the report titled Elgin Middlesex Regional Fire School Update from the Chief Administrative Officer dated October 5th, 2022 be received and filed for information.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Jones and Councillor Purcell. And did you have any further comments, Julie?
Certainly. Thanks, Madam Warden. Through you to members of council. This report provides an overview of the Elgin Middlesex Regional Fire School. It's clear that Elgin's ability to offer National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, supports a level of standardized training across departments and provides a convenient and cost-effective option for local firefighters. We are currently developing the course program for 2023 and will provide a budget update to council as part of its budget deliberations for 2023. This report will be shared with local fire chiefs. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Julie. Are there any questions? Go ahead, Deputy Warden Marks.
Just to comment, I certainly believe this is a home run. And just look there at the numbers, 400 people who are better trained than they were a year ago, and you wonder if it wasn't here in Elgin. It's just made it so much easier for them, and I think we've all benefited. So I think it's one of the best things we've done.
Any further comments or questions? All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. The next item up is council correspondence. I guess we'll each one, or if you, whoever wants to bring up anything of interest. Are there any comments about any of the correspondence? Hey, Julie, I guess there's no one stuff that had anything they would like to speak about, so.
Be it resolved that correspondence items 7.2.1 to 7.2.3 be received and filed.
Okay, someone to move, Counselor McPhail, and seconded by Counselor 𝗘𝗵𝗴𝗶. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Are there any statements or inquiries by members? Notice of motion. Are there any matters of urgency? Closed meeting.
Be it resolved that we do now proceed into closed meeting session in accordance with the Municipal Act to discuss the following matters under Municipal Act, Section 239(2), closed session item number 1, which is an organizational update, and that's 239(2)B, and closed session item number 2, which is contract negotiations, and that's Section 239(2)K.
Someone to move and someone to second. Counselor Mennel and seconded by Counselor 𝗘𝗹𝗴𝗶. And all of those in favor? And that's carried. Welcome back. Into Rise and Report.
Resolved that we do now rise and report.
By Counselor 𝗘𝗹𝗴𝗶. Favor. And that's carried. In camera item number 1.
It resolved that staff proceed as directed.
Someone to move or someone to second. Counselor Jones and Counselor 𝗘𝗵𝗴𝗶. All those in favor? And that's carried. In camera item number 2.
Resolved that the report from the CAO be received.
To move and someone to second. Counselor Mennel and Counselor 𝗘𝗹𝗴𝗶. All those in favor? And that's carried. Motion to adopt recommendations from the Committee of the Whole.
Be it resolved that we do now adopt recommendations of the Committee of the Whole.
Someone to move, someone to second. Counselor Jones and seconded by Counselor Purcell. All those in favor? That's carried. Consideration of bylaws.
Be it a first, second, and third read of bylaw number 22-43 being a bylaw to appoint �𝗏𝗏 LLP as the Integrity Commissioner, closed meeting investigator, and ombudsman for the Corporation of the County of Elgin, and to repeal bylaw number 17-42.
Okay, to move and someone to second. Deputy Warden Marks and Counselor Mennel. All those in favor? And that's bylaw number 22-44.
Be it a first, second, and third read of bylaw 22-44 being a bylaw to appoint a Community Emergency Management Coordinator for the County of Elgin.
Someone to move and someone to second, please. Counselor 𝗘𝗵𝗴𝗶 and Counselor Jones. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And bylaw number 22-45.
Be it a first, second, and third read of bylaw 22-45 being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of the Municipal Council of the Corporation of the County of Elgin at the October 11th, 2022 meeting.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Counselor 𝗘𝗹𝗴𝗶 and seconded by Counselor Martin. All those in favor? And that's carried. And the last resolution.
Be it resolved that we do now adjourn at 9:43 a.m. to meet again on November the 8th, 2022 at 9 o'clock a.m.
Okay, Counselor Purcell and seconded by Deputy Warden Marks. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much.